So I will be writing down your answers to the different questions regarding what different thing to think of. And if our answers match, you can go to sleep. So, for example, if I ask you to think of a colour, and you say, let's say, red, and my answer is red, then you can go to sleep. Or you can play along and see how many answers we match on. Okay, great. So let's start. I want you to think of a berry. Any berry. Okay. What berry are you thinking of? Okay. So, my answer was lingonberry. Did we match? Okay, right. Think of a country in Africa. Any country. Okay. So, I said Madagascar. Okay, just remember, we match. Go to sleep. Number 3. Think of any 3-letter name. Any 3-letter name. Okay. I had Tim. Okay. Think of a comic superhero. Any comic superhero. Okay. I had Ant-Man. Next, think of a comic villain. Any comic villain. Okay, so I had Scarecrow. Next, think of a shampoo company. Any company that makes shampoo. Okay. I had Tresemme. Next, think of an object you would find in the bathroom. Okay. Great. I had a loofah. Next, think of a colour. Okay. I had orange. Okay. Next, think of a fruit. Any fruit. Okay. I had dragon fruit. Next, think of a fast food chain. Any fast food chain. Okay. I had Burger King. Next, think of a dinosaur. Any dinosaur. Okay. I had a Stegosaurus. Next, think of any essential oil scent. Any essential oil scent. Okay, I had jasmine. Think of any name that begins with N. Any name that begins with N. Okay, great. I had Natasha. Next, think of any anime. Any in South America. Any country in South America. Okay. I had Ecuador. Next, think of a planet in our solar system. Any planet. Okay. I had Earth. Number 23, think of a musical instrument. Any musical instrument. Okay. I had the flute. Next, think of any capital city. Any capital city. Okay, I had Cairo. Think of a female author. Any female author. Okay. I had Mary Shelley. Next, think of a male author. Any male author. I had Ernest Hemingway. Alright, next. Think of a famous movie maker or director. Any famous movie maker or director. Okay. I had Ridley Scott. Think of a TV series. Any TV series. Okay, I had Frasier. Next, think of a board game. Any board game. Okay. I had Monopoly. Next, think of a name that begins with H. A name that begins with H. Okay. I had Hugo. Next, think of a musical. Any musical. Okay. I had Cats. Next, think of a video game. Any video game. Okay. I had Animal Crossing. Next, think of a type of pasta. Like a pasta shape. Okay. Alright. I had Favali. Okay. Think of a game you play mostly on your phone. So, a game that you would most typically play more so on your phone. Okay. I had Angry Birds. Next, think of a female actress. Think of a female actress. Okay. I had Kate Blanchett. Next, think of a male actor. Think of a male actor. Okay. I had Matt Damon. Next, think of a notable landmark. A notable landmark. Okay. I had Stonehenge. Next, think of a letter from A to Z. Any letter from A to Z. Okay, I had B. Next, think of a Studio Ghibli movie. Any Studio Ghibli movie. one, okay? Next, think of a Disney movie. Any Disney movie. Okay. I had The Jungle Book. Next, think of a job that requires a uniform. A job that requires a uniform. Okay. I had a pilot. So how are we doing so far? We are on question 42. Any matches? Okay, right. Number 42. Think of a type of cheese. A type of cheese. Okay. I had brie. Next, think of a type of tree. A type of tree. Okay. I had willow. Next, think of a 90s movie. Any movie from the 1990s. Okay. I had Titanic. Think of a type of hat. Any type of hat you would wear. Okay. I had beanie. Next, think of a gemstone. Any gemstone. Okay. I had aquamarine. Next, think of a mountain. Any mountain. Okay, I had Kilimanjaro. Next, think of a country that begins with A. Any country that begins with A. Okay. I had Argentina. Next, think of a British king or queen. Any British king or queen. Okay, I had Queen Victoria. Next, number 50, halfway. Think of a flower, any flower. Okay, I had peony. Okay, 51. Think of a comedy movie. Any comedy movie. Okay, I had The Big Lebowski. Number 52. Think of a video game console. Any video game console. Okay, I had the Game Boy. Next, think of a type of cake. Type of cake. I had red velvet. Next, think of a bird. Any bird. Okay. I had a toucan. Next, think of a famous painter. Any painter. Okay. I had Picasso. Next, think of a famous composer. Okay. I had Brahms. Next, think of a famous luxury fashion brand. Any famous luxury fashion brand. Okay. I had Prada. Next, think of a word that starts with an S and ends with a D. with S, ends with D. Okay. I had sand. Next, think of a country in Europe. Any country in Europe. Okay, I had Croatia. Next, think of a superpower. Okay. I had teleportation. Next, think of a job. Any job. Okay. I had baker. Next, think of a 3-letter word. Any 3-letter word. Okay. I had dog. Next, think of a 4-letter word. Any 4-letter word. Okay. I had 4. Next, think of a dessert. Any dessert. Okay. I had tiramisu. Next, think of a piece of jewelry. Piece of jewelry you could wear. Okay. I had earrings. Next, think of a month. Any month. Any month. Okay. I had May. Next, think of a country's flag. So you can picture the flag. Just let me know what the country is associated with the flag. Okay. I had Greece. Next, think of a country who has currently or had a monarchy at some point. Any country who currently has or did have a monarchy. Okay. I had France. spring. Next, think of any vegetable that is not green. Any vegetable that is not green. Okay. I had carrot. Next, think of a condiment or popular sauce. Any condiment or popular sauce. Okay. I had mayonnaise. Next, think of something you might find in the fridge section at the grocery store. Something you might find in the fridge section at the grocery store. Okay. I had juice. Next, think of a piece of furniture. Okay. I had a couch. Okay. Next, think of a Tom Cruise movie. Any Tom Cruise movie. Okay. I had Eyes Wide Shut. Next, think of a cartoon character. Any cartoon character. Okay, I had Scooby-Doo. Number 88. Think of a word that rhymes with cat. Okay, I had bat. Next, think of a singer from any band. Any singer from any band. Okay, I had Freddie Mercury. Next, think of a famous band with a female lead singer. Famous band with a female lead singer. Okay. I had Evanescence. Okay, so that's been 90 questions so far. Have any of them matched? Okay, alright. Number 91. Think of something you could find on a pizza. Okay. I had pineapple. Next, think of a flavor of ice cream. Any flavor of ice cream. Okay. I had mint. Next, think of a kitchen appliance. Any kitchen appliance. Okay, so I had microwave. Next, think of any streaming service that currently exists or at one point existed. Any streaming service. Okay. I had HBO. Next, name any famous person related to sports. Any famous person related to sports. Okay. I had Serena Williams. Next, think of a farm animal. An animal you would typically find at a farm. Okay. I had a chicken. Next, think of a flavor of jam or jelly. Okay. answers matched.